Hello. Today we're going to check the words to and enough. This is when you want to explain the limit of some things. Well, we are going to start. As I said to you, you have the different words that are to and enough. In that case, we will use it for express different limits. In the case of to is used when the person or the action or object passed the limit that you have or that is established. And in the case of enough, is used when you are exactly in the point of the limit. Okay, so this would be. Those are the difference. Two is when past the limit, enough is when it's in the limit. Okay, and could be less than the limit or more than the limit, but pass it. And in the case of enough, it's just in the limit. In all the careers that you study, you have a specific standards of limits in everything. For example, in industrial engineering, you have limited limits in case of standards, for example, of pieces or the products that produce the factory. And in the case, for example, the psychologists, in that case, for example, you have limits of standards when you make a test. So this is the limit that you permit or not. Okay, so for that reason, this is so useful for everybody. Now, I will give you an example, okay, of a movie. Okay, probably you know what is this movie. I think everybody knows it. It's the movie Soul. And actually, as you know, it's a movie that exists, that have a lot of violence, and obviously exists a range of age that the people can watch it or not. Okay, so for example, when I use to is because the person passed the limit of watching this movie. This movie is just for adolescents that have more or 15 years old. Okay, so if I want to say to use the word to, obviously when I pass the limit is when the person is less than 15 years old. In that case, for example, I can say she is too young. Okay, is too young if the person wants to watch the movie. Okay, but what happens if the person is 15 years old? If I say that is 15 years old, I am in the exactly limit and the exactly standard of watching the movie. For that reason, in that case, I have to say she is young enough because the person is in the exactly limit. This is when the person is less than 15. She's too young. When the person is 15, is young enough so the person can watch the movie without problem because it's in the exactly point that the person can watch it. In this case, the person is too young because the person passed the limit of the age in a less way. Now, what is the structure that you have to follow in both cases? You need a person, obviously, or an object, whatever that you want to talk. And after you have to write the verb to be. The verb to be could be in present, past, future, or whatever do you want. Okay, could be instead of is, could be is, are, am, could be was, were, could be will be, could be going to be, or etc. Okay, and after you have to write the word to, and after you have to write your adjective. And this is the way that you have to write this kind of sentence. Okay, and in case of enough, the structure is a little different. In this case, you have to write the person. After you write the verb to be, after you write your adjective, okay, I move it, and after you have to write the word enough. The difference between enough and to in case of grammar is that to is previous the adjective, and the case of enough is after the adjective. So this is the way that you have to write it. Now, this is just when you want to give a description of the thing. But if we talk about watch a movie, how you can match watch a movie with the words of the description that we have here? That's so easy. We can use it with infinitive verbs. For example, if you want to write it, you can say it like this. She is too young to watch the movie. In this case, the thing that you do is give for what kind of thing the person is too young. In this case, you describe what is the action that the person can do because he's too young. Okay? So, in the case of enough, you have to follow the same rule. You have to write the same structure that you had previously, and after you have to add the verb in infinitive. For example, you can say she is young enough, or old enough in this case, because obviously we try to explain that the person has the sufficient mature to watch it. So for that reason, we write the opposite. She is old enough to watch the movie. And actually, we can do the same here, sorry. Old. Okay, she is old enough to watch the movie. So that you say that the person has a sufficient mature in order to watch the movie. So this is a way that you can write it. And exists another, well, the structure, as I said to you, is you write the first sentence, the person, the verb to be, after to, after adjective, and after the verb in infinitive with to, and obviously the complement of the sentence. In the case of enough is the person, the verb to be, as you can check here, the adjective, that is in case old, enough, that is my intensifier, and you have your verb and infinitive, sorry, and obviously your complement. Actually, for example, you can use for what kind of people isn't good to watch it. If you want to change it a little, the sentence, you can say this. The movie is too violent for children to watch. Okay, what I did in these sentences, I don't talk about the specific for in the case of the person. I talk about the movie or the thing that is dangerous for the rest of people. For that reason, I used first my object and after my verb to be, and the kind of adjective for the reason that is past the limit that you want to explain. And in this case, I write the person or the person, the people, in this case children, that is sent for that kind of public. In this case, I do it like this. And I can use the same with enough. You can say, for example, we talk about another movie. No, we continue with the same. For example, we can say the movie is enough violent for you because probably you are the kind of person that like this kind of movies, and for you it isn't past the limit. So for you it's a normal movie, you don't have a lot of complications with this, and for that reason you use the word enough. That is the way that you can use it. This is, remember, always when past the limit, less or more than the limit. And in the case of enough is when the thing is in exactly the meaning. So isn't more, isn't less, it's just the thing or the adjective that you want to give.